The Conbini boys, they're the Conbini boys, they're the Conbini boys.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Matt. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too, Mike. Wow. How was your Christmas this year?
Well, it was an interesting one for sure. Yeah, we did, as always, got up in the morning, all the presents were laid out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This year we didn't wrap anything though, so it was just kind of, you just seeing what you're getting. And But yeah, got some good stuff, gave some good stuff. Yeah,
Nice.
talked to family back home. How about you? How was it for you guys?
Exactly the same. We opened our gifts with a box cutter this year. Um, got some nice gifts. Got a new pair of boots, which was really nice.
Mhm.
And yeah, talked to a lot of family, which was
Oh,
also
nice.
a real treat. Yeah, normally we head back to the UK for Christmas, but this year we were here in Cambridge on Zoom. Actually
Hmm.
had a very nice dinner, had a rack of lamb,
Oh.
split it with the cat, which was that was his Christmas gift this year. A couple lamb chops.
Well, hey, that's not a bad deal.
I was pretty excited about it. Yep.
Yeah, man. Well, it's Christmas is come and gone, and we're heading
Hmm.
into the new year, and everybody's really in the end of the year spirit right now.
Hmm.
I think just go ahead and kick it off. The Combini is no different, Matt. Last week we had quite an event, and that was that for the first time in 34 episodes, we had no chickies.
That's right, Mike. It was a shocking week. It seemed they were making a run at the famous Joe DiMaggio's. It was a 54 game hit streak. Got to 34 weeks, and then it all fell apart here at the end of the year. It was a shame to see. It really was.
Yeah, and I hate to break it to everyone listening. Unfortunately, 2 weeks in a row now, no chickies on the lineup here.
Mm,
Yeah, you were talking about Joe DiMaggio. I was thinking it's more like one of those situations like maybe Joe DiMaggio. Next game he doesn't get a hit. Next game he goes hitless for like
hitless.
10, 20 weeks. I mean, but I think that we're seeing that it real things are really slowing down. Everybody's taking off work, and they probably had this scheduled for a long time. So I can't think. We shouldn't be too disappointed. I think 2021 is going to bring us many incredible chickies. So I think we have a lot to look forward to.
No doubt about it, Mike. I think people are going to be coming back more energized than ever after this long break.
Hmm.
And yeah, hopefully 2021 will be full of innovative chickies like we saw this past year. Um, kind of similar to that, Mike. Shall we take a look at the scoreboard here? It's
I guess so. Yeah.
it's bleak. Yeah, the numbers this week: Family Mart 15 new items,
Ooh.
Lawson 6 new items,
Wow.
all desserts,
Mm.
and then 7-Eleven, Mike, 32 new items.
Well, I mean, we share a very similar reaction to this. Last week we said, things seem like they're a lot lower. If next week that, we're seeing a ton, bigger numbers, then we didn't know what you're talking about. But this is, I mean, even more drastic. I never thought this isn't even 50 item, or no, it's just over 50 items. It's a ghost town, Matt. I don't know. I imagine, right now at the factory, everybody's already on vacation. They've got
Yeah.
one guy over at 7-Eleven is probably cranking out these 32 items there. But yeah, I don't know, man. This is the lowest we've ever seen by far.
By far. And it's got to be the end of the year. Everything's shutting down. Everybody's going on holiday. The new year is a big holiday in Japan,
Mm.
and people do get time off for that. So it's got to be. This is planned. This is certainly nothing to be concerned about.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
some of our listeners might be freaking out here. But no, I expect first week of January, things are just going to be back up and running. 7-Eleven's going to be, around the century mark, Lawson back up in the 30s, Family Mart in the 50s, the 60s, and we'll be back to normal. But no, this is a shocking thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that said, we did comb the 50 or so items here for winners and losers. Mike, shall we dive into that? Let's. What do we say? We start with your. I always like to start with your loser.
Okay. All right.
I'm a big fan of seeing what you've got.
Yep.
In the old loser category here. Let's see what we got. Pop this open here. Oh.
Yep. Well, Matt, like you said, and as we saw, there's just so few items this week. I actually had quite a hard time picking out a loser. And this isn't a total loser in my book, but what we're looking at here, this is Kazunoko, which is herring roe and wasabi.
Oh.
And Kazunoko, as you know, is it's a big end of the year dish. In Japan, they have this kind of dishes. They call it osechi ryori, and it's at New Year's. Only at New Year's, there's there's a huge variety. I mean, I don't even know. There's probably 30, 40, 50 different types of these New Year foods, but one of them is Kazunoko. And Kazunoko, it's like I said, it's a roe, and it's really yellow. And it's really, really crunchy. And so this is that with wasabi and sort of whipped up with into this dish there. If you could maybe zoom in a little bit there. So the reason this is my loser this week is, I gotta be honest, Matt. I love the Conbini. You love the Conbini. Everyone listening to this show loves the Conbini, but there's one thing that I don't think the Conbini really needs to do, and that's osechi ryori. That's a very sort of it's a very particular sort of dish, and it's a very difficult to do right. And I mean, it looks all right, I guess. Actually, the picture doesn't really look that great at all. It looks like, I don't even know, some sort of strange potato salad. But yeah, I just felt like that, with so few items, I understand they want to put out something and, tie it into the new year, but I think they should just, maybe stay out of this sort of category at the end of the year food.
Yeah, Mike, my first reaction to this was, I thought it was potato salad. And then I saw the name. I was not aware that, first, I did not know what Kazunoko. I'd never heard of that before, so that's new knowledge for me. I did not know it was osechi. 7-Eleven is preparing osechi food in a major campaign this year. Wow. Similar to their Christmas feast, you can order osechi through 7-Eleven this year. They have a catalog out. I hope it looks a little bit fancier than what we got here. Again, this does look like just some potato salad, and osechi potato salad has no place in osechi.
Yeah.
But this is herring roe with wasabi. Yeah, it does sound kind of gross. So I guess I'm with you here, Mike, on this being a loser for this week.
Yep.
All right, my loser for this week, unlike you, Mike, I actually had a pretty easy time picking out a loser.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, this one definitely stood out to me. This is from 7-Eleven, Mike. This is the Hamburg curry spaghetti. Let me just break this down for our listeners here. This is a bowl of spaghetti, and the sauce is a Japanese-style curry sauce, so not tomato sauce. This is just curry sauce here. And it's a lot. You can barely see the spaghetti. You got a few strands just creeping up, breaching the surface of that curry. And then to top it off, you got a big old Hamburg steak there. Mike, I think this is another indicator that it's the end of the year. I think the PD lead just said, hey, we're going to be out of the office for the next couple of weeks, guys. Just clear it out. Whatever looks like is about to go bad, just get rid of it. And this is what they came up with. They had some pasta, some curry, and some Hamburg. And they pieced it together. And Ladies and gentlemen, we've talked about dirty diapers on this
Yes.
podcast before. Mike, this may be the dirtiest diaper
Yep.
we've seen
Yep.
yet. I know you've been in the trenches with your young lad the past year or so. I remember talking to you, had a major blowout during a call. You had you had some emergency duty. Had a
That's right.
911 call, had a break loose. Mike, I gotta believe that whatever horror you saw was not as diabolical as this disaster we're looking at here. This Hamburg curry spaghetti. This is my loser for this week. Could be my loser for 2020.
Wow. All right, Matt, let me explain why I didn't pick this, because when I was browsing over the new items, I thought this was I thought it was just pasta with a hamburger on top.
Mm.
And so it didn't really, I just thought, oh, maybe they got the color a little wrong. That's quite a dark, tomato sauce there. And I see now this is a sort of, they're sprinkling, it looks Parmesan cheese around that. Is that
Oh,
what
I didn't even see that. Yeah, that's Parmesan cheese.
okay.
Probably.
I thought that was the glow. I thought that was like a shine from
Sheen.
like,
Yeah, that's what I thought
yeah,
it was too.
yeah, because this thing's looking slippery all around. Like you said, Matt, I don't. Yeah, it seems
Yeah.
like they just threw it all together. There's nothing really interesting about this, and 7-Eleven again with the classic photography. Make your food look as much just like crap as you can. Like this is
Yeah,
just
literally.
like, yeah, literally, this is a big old dump that somebody took in this bowl. This is awful. You're right, Matt. This might be on the contenders list for worst of 2020.
All right, let's pick ourselves up off the floor here and take a look
Hmm.
at a couple of winners. Let's
Oh
go to
yeah.
you first, Mike. Always pumped up to see. Ooh. Oh, oh, I
Hmm.
saw this coming. Yep.
Yeah, Matt. If there were a couple things in 2020 that got us excited, and one of them for me was the Lemondo line. This is actually made by Coca-Cola Company,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a line of four lemon sours. There's a 3%, a 5%, 7%, 9%. And each of them are really different and really have a different taste. For example, the 7% is a salt lemon. The 3% is a honey lemon. They're all sort of like really interesting. And this is a new one that they're adding to this line.
Mm.
And so the former, the 9%, they call it the Oni lemon, and that's
Mm.
the demon lemon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
like super lemony. This one, Matt, this is another 9%er.
Mm-hmm.
This is a black can, and it's called the Kami Sori lemon, the razor lemon. So I don't know if the Oni lemon, the demon lemon, is who ranks higher, the razor, the demon, but this is a dry, they say, so I guess it's more sort of less fruity flavor. To be honest, I've kind of cooled off on the 9%ers recently,
Yeah.
but I really just love the lemon dough. The sort of like art style, the four, like each different percent. It was such a cool thing that they did this year, and so this one really caught my interest.
Yeah, Mike, I took a hard look at this one as well. Yeah, what strikes me every time with this product, like you said, the design of the can is just outstanding. The contrast between the black, the yellow,
Mm,
it's
mm,
really cool. And no doubt this thing is going to taste great. The
mm.
razor lemon, I imagine that thing is going to be sharp.
Yeah,
You're going
yeah.
to taste that lemon.
Whether you want to or not, I don't know. That thing might cut you.
Might cut you. Watch out, ladies and gentlemen. Be safe. Maybe pack a Band-Aid while you're drinking. Also, only 150 yen, which is, wow, that seems pretty cheap for a 9%er there.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
All right. My winner for this week, Mike. I thought we might pick the same item, but we did not. Oh, sorry, that's yours again. Okay, my winner for this week, Mike. This is a
Ooh,
pudding, Mike. Not much to say about this other than this is almost a pound of pudding for four bucks, Mike. This is 380
what?
grams of pudding. Nearly a
Oh
half kilo
God.
translates to just over 0.8 pounds of pudding, and it's got a little looks like caramel sauce on the bottom here, Mike. So this is a
Mm.
tub of pudding. This is a bucket of pudding for $4. You
Wow.
can't go wrong when you're talking about nearly a pound of pudding. You just peel that boy back, sit back, strip naked, and just start hammering away. That's the only way to eat this guy. Yeah, very excited
Wow.
about this product here.
Yeah, Matt. Well, hey, I think this might be a good time. We did a couple of shout outs to some of our fallen heroes last week, and when you threw this up here, it made me think. To be fair, it lost to a worthy opponent, none other than Black Thunder.
Black
But
Thunder, yeah.
we didn't see much of the caramel pudding in this year's Conbini tournament, so I'm glad you pulled this up. It looks great. I didn't really understand the scale of this thing when I first saw it, but when you pointed out that this thing's almost a pound of pudding, wow, man, this is an end of the year treat, no doubt.
Yeah, so for a very affordable price, you can eat your body weight in pudding. So that's it. Those are our winners and losers for this week, Mike. Again, not much to pick from. Hoping early next 2021 will give us back another 200 or so items to choose from for our winners and losers, but that's it for this week.
Yep. All right, man. Well, hey, that was kind of a, slim pickings this week all around. But we got to continue on our main story here, Matt, and that's the ongoing Conbini Tournament. Matt, as you know, last week we were talking about the Elite Eight. Well, you know what, Matt? Now we're down to the Final Four. And it's been such an exciting week. I just can't really believe that things have transpired the ways that they have. But it's been super exciting and just so fun. Yeah, man, how are you feeling?
Really, again, it's been 3 weeks, Mike, since we launched the Conbini Tournament, and the action has been getting more exciting every single week. The matchups are getting tighter. More votes are coming in. We've had some upsets. We've had so many highs, and unfortunately, so many lows. It's been an emotional roller coaster here, Mike, I think for everybody involved. So now that we're at the Final Four, man, I can only just imagine what kind of journey we're about to embark on here, because we do have 4 very strong contenders. Would you like to share the respective representatives from each of our divisions?
I think that's a great idea. We've on this, especially during the Conbini tournament, we've been throwing out a lot of names. So I think, hey, we've got our representatives from each division. It's time to shine the spotlight on them and let our listeners, get to know who is battling it out here. Who are these people? So yeah, Matt, I think that's a great idea. Well, you know what? I think it's just suiting that maybe, or it's fitting that maybe you would start maybe with the hot box division, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Out of the hot box division, we have the number 1 seed, Famichiki. Mike, no surprise here, and just recap of the destruction it has sowed the last 3 weeks. Defeated Katsu in round 1, 88-12. No problem there. Round 2, defeated Karaage-kun, 63-37%. Another Chiki in the hot box, down. Round 3, defeated 5 seed Pizzaman, 56-34, and just defeated Nikuman. So it has defeated some big opponents. Now, Mike, for those, we talk about Famichiki a lot in this podcast, but I have been reflecting how to put the Famichiki into an appropriate context to really demonstrate its majesty. And I was thinking, who is a comparable athlete to the Famichiki? I thought long and hard about this, Mike. Is it Muhammad Ali? Is it Babe Ruth? Is it Michael Vick and Madden 2004? It was almost impossible for me to find somebody, because what you needed is somebody who changed the sport Changed the
Hmm.
sport itself, because that's what Famichiki did in, I believe it was 2001 or 2004. The Famichiki debuted, and then all of the Conbini began
Mm.
releasing fantastic chicken products.
Yep.
The only person I could come up with, Mike, Tiger Woods. Changed the game of golf. He dominated the competition, won the Masters by 12 strokes in 1997, the U.S. Open by 15, British Open by 8 in 2000, won the Grand Slam, 4 consecutive majors. All players now are athletes. They're not fat John Daly's walking around 300 pounds, chain smoking and drinking. They had to tiger-proof golf courses so he would win less. It only made him win more. And he brought money to the sport. Suddenly, you're an
Well,
average golfer bringing in $5 million a year. He changed the sport. Not only that, Mike, when you bite into a Famichiki,
oh boy.
first thought that comes to your mind, at least for me, is should life even be allowed to be this good? And I gotta believe, Mike, Tiger, of course, struggled with some major personal issues, but
Sure.
when he was holed up in Vegas in some high roller suite with a couple of prosties and a bathtub of Xanax, he was probably thinking to himself, should life ever be allowed to get this good? And I think that's the only guy, Mike. Famichiki is the Tiger Woods of the Conbini. Changed the sport.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Wow. Yeah, no. I think that's a very apt description. We love the Famichiki. And if you've listened to any episodes besides this one and you don't know who the Famichiki is, I'd be surprised. But I just one episode actually in the past that we really did a deep dive. Episode 9, Legendary Famichiki Tales. Extraordinary Feats of Juice. This is one of my favorite episodes of all time. So if you really want to get an even more sort of, a better account of some of our thoughts on the Famichiki, definitely check that out. All right, Matt. Well, what if it's all right then? I think how about I introduce my first representative here from the meal division, and I'm talking about, Matt. That's Tuna Mayo Onigiri. Tuna Mayo Onigiri, the true sort of low-ranked competitor, the only one that's left really. That Tuna Mayo Onigiri started as an 11 seed. Faced off against curry rice, blew it out of the water. Faced off against karaage bento, blew it out of the water.
That was shocking.
That was shocking. Faced cup ramen, again, blew it out of the water. And then finally, Matt, came up against umeboshi onigiri, one of our favorites, in the tournament, and pretty handily, gave it the business.
Yes.
So, that's Tuna Mayo Onigiri. I didn't actually know too much about the Tuna Mayo Onigiri, so I did a little looking back into its past. And Tuna Mayo Onigiri actually first debuted in Japan in 1983. So fairly young. And get this, Matt, get this. It was originally created and produced by 7-Eleven. Before that, no one was making this. 7-Eleven sort of created the Tuna Mayo Onigiri.
Wow.
And originally it came out, the name was sea chicken mayonnaise was the flavor they called it. In Japan, sea chicken, they call it tuna. And sort of the reason that they decided to, the inspiration for this was the supplier for rice to 7-Eleven had a child who really liked eating his rice with mayonnaise on top of it, and this was the inspiration for making this Tuna Mayo Onigiri. And so 7-Eleven released it. It became an instant hit, and it instantly was replicated everywhere else. And now it's become one of the I looked. It's by far and away the highest selling onigiri.
Really?
Type. Yes. I was surprised to read that, but it's Dan Totsu Ichi. So far and away number one. I think that I'm going to be honest. I think we slept on Tuna Mayo Onigiri a little bit, maybe you and me. The the fans have spoken. The crowd has spoken, and it's not the Giri that we wanted, but it's the Giri that we got, and it really deserves it. So I present to you Tuna Mayo Onigiri.
Yeah, Mike, that's you're right. I think we slept on it. And each week we were surprised when it blew past Karaage Bento. We thought that was going to be a real tough matchup for it, and it just smacked it down. And then when it had the showdown with Umeboshi Onigiri, both of us are huge ume fans, pickled plum. We figured surely this is the end of the road for Tuna Mayo, but week after week it has proven us wrong. And now to learn that it's actually the number one onigiri in all of Japan, that is, I gotta say, I am very surprised by that. But, I suppose this is a demonstration that the Conbini tournament does in fact yield the top contenders no matter where you're seated.
That's exactly right. It's a completely fair battle.
That's right. Okay, Mike, maybe I should go ahead now and take a look at the snack division.
All right.
Our rep out of the snack division is a 2 seed, Black Thunder. Mike,
Man,
Black Thunder, just a quick recap of its journey. In round 1, it crushed Beef Jerky. In round 2, it destroyed the caramel pudding. Round 3, crushed Pinot ice cream. And in its most recent round, it edged out Pocky in maybe the most exciting matchup we've seen in the tournament, Mike. With 3 minutes left in the match, it surged past Pocky. Mike, it was down by as many as I think 15 votes with just 3 minutes remaining. And the Black Thunder fans mounted a campaign on Twitter to get it past Pocky. And I got to tell you, Mike, I know we were both kind of freaking out that Pocky might make it to the Final Four. I was kind of on the edge of my seat as I watched the countdown happen there, and I was thrilled to see Black Thunder take down Pocky.
Yeah, man. I was so excited as well. I was refreshing Twitter over and over and over, just watching what's going on, and it was a nail biter for sure.
But just a little bit about Black Thunder. I did take a peek into its history. It's actually a fairly new item as well. Came out, I believe, in 1994. It's, of course, dark chocolate. The black that's a term for dark chocolate in Japan. That's why they call it Black Thunder. Dark chocolate with crispy rice puffs in the middle, sold for 30 yen, the little one pieces. Mike, I can't tell you how many times I've discreetly added a Black Thunder to my Conbini haul, and time again, it was often the best thing in the haul. It didn't really gain much attraction until the mid-2000s when it was a sponsor for the Japan Gymnastics Olympic team. And in 2008, and they did very well that year. A silver medalist wound up really cheering on Black Thunder as a great product following, I think, a silver medal. And that's what propelled Black Thunder to its dominance today. Originally, I believe it was sold only by 7-Eleven. So 7-Eleven, yet again, the pioneer here in the Conbini world.
Wow. Yeah. That was interesting. You said how many times you've added that to your Conbini haul, Matt. I was just thinking it's almost criminal. A lot of Conbinis at the counter, they'll have a little pocket of Black Thunder that you can just grab a couple out of. It's unique. It's only Black Thunder that has this sort of, elevated position that you can just add one in there at the end. And you're right. You often do. It's hard not to. Yeah, man. You know what? Black Thunder is one of the most, consistent sweets out there. And, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, It's going up against the fight of its life. I can only cheer on Black Thunder. Black Thunder has fought to get this far, and they're going to really have to fight to move on. But, I'd like to cheer on Black Thunder.
Yeah, so it's going to be Black Thunder against Famichiki. Yeah, Mike. We'll see what happens. Fight of its life. That's right.
Fight of its life. I don't know. All right, Matt. Well, okay. Well, one last division, and we're gonna head over to the beverage division. Matt, this one's this is a point of pride for me here. I'm feeling damn good because recap again. I recap this every week. Your winner for the Conbini Tournament was none other than Canned Coffee. Rest in peace, Canned Coffee. And my winner was Pocari Sweat, and I'm happy to announce, Matt, that Pocari Sweat is going on.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. To face Tuna, Mayo, Onigiri in the Final Four. So coming out of the beverage division, let me tell you what Pocari Sweat has done up to now. It's been a hard fight. Brutal. I think of all the other contenders, well, I don't know, except Black Thunder in that last match, it's had a really, really tough matchups or tough time. First off, it faced off against Ukon no Chikara. Pocari Sweat is a 2 seed. It, won handily there. Then it went up against Oi Ocha Green Tea, the one green tea in this, which, I thought it was done. But somehow it went on. And then next, who's waiting next? It's, the boss of the boss, Strong Zero. So we thought he was done. I think we were,
Yeah, I was writing up the obit when that match got started. Yeah,
that's right. We had to pull it off Twitter. He somehow pulled it off. And then finally, coming to avenge the death of Canned Coffee, Pocari Sweat laid the smackdown. Pretty, 59 to 41% over Conbini Drip Coffee. Matt, this is again sort of like the Famichiki. There was actually an episode where we did a deep dive into Pocari Sweat.
I forgot about this.
That was episode 7, traditional Japanese cuisine, hot dogs and fried chicken. We actually did a reading series. It's our first and only time, and we read the history of Pocari Sweat. So if you want to look a little bit more into the history of Pocari Sweat, check that out. But let me try to describe what Pocari Sweat is. So Pocari Sweat is what you would call a sports drink. But I don't think that's fair. Pocari Sweat transcends the sports drink moniker. It's more, it's sort of in a class all in its own. I don't think there's anything that compares to it. For me, I think less sports drink. I think more life drink. So, like I said, if you check the episode, you can hear about the development, which is quite a
amazing story. Yeah. Years of development to. But basically, Pocari Sweat was developed in 1980 by Otsuka Pharmaceuticals. That's right. A pharmaceutical company developed this drink. You might be asking why. So, an Otsuka researcher was in Mexico and had a stomach illness. He drank some water and it kind of, gave him the runs. And so when he was at the doctor, he saw another doctor who had just finished surgery drinking an IV bag to replenish his energy. And this gave them the sort of core, the thought for Pocari Sweat, which is a drinkable IV bag. Yeah. And that's what it is. I mean, I think the only other items in the tournament so far that are close to it would be probably water and maybe Oyocha green tea and the way that you drink it. But it's sort of it's an in-between. It's a life drink. Tea you drink maybe with lunch. Water, it's similar to water in that sense, but it's like a super version of water. So you know what, Matt? I present to you Pocari Sweat. And I mean, of course, I'm a little biased, but I can only hope the best for him. No, Mike, I've shared this before. I'm actually not a huge fan of Pocari Sweat myself until this week, Mike, because it avenged Canned Coffee by slicing down its opponent, Conbini Drip Coffee. So I am now forever a loyal, dedicated fan of Pocari Sweat, like a bounty hunter. It went after Conbini drip coffee and cut it down. Dead. So while I'm not a huge fan of the product myself, I am, of course, I'm clearly an outlier. Pocari
Mhm.
Sweat, like you said, Mike, it really has gone through, I think, the toughest schedule.
Yeah.
Maybe Famichiki, you could argue, had a tougher one with Nikuman
Well,
and Pizza Man. Those are some tough opponents. But
it's
Strong
true.
Zero, Oi Ocha Green Tea, come on, ladies and gentlemen. Those are tough opponents week after week. Pocari
Mhm.
Sweat has demonstrated it belongs in the Final Four, and I think it's going to give Tuna Mayo the match of its life
Well,
in this matchup.
well, Matt, yeah, I hope so. I just hope we see some good battles. Do you wanna make some predictions? What do you wanna? I mean, all right, Famichiki Black Thunder. I don't want to bias our fans. We just presented our, the representatives for each division, but if you were gonna make the call, can you see Black Thunder taking the, taking it over Famichiki? What do you think?
Mike, I think the odds are against them. It reminds me of 2000 New England Patriots against the St. Louis Rams. Patriots were 14-point underdogs until a, a man named Tom Brady took the field and the legend began. Will this be a similar story for Black Thunder, where a legendary story begins? But I don't think so, Mike. I think Famichiki. I think it's actually going to be pretty ugly. In fact, I think the nature of the setup, Hotbox going against the snack, the Hotbox.
Hmm.
Ooh, it's just got so many high quality items in there. I
Yeah.
just think it would be hard for a snack item to defeat a hot box item. Never mind the Famichiki. So I'm predicting uh big loss for Black Thunder here. What about you?
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. You're right. There is, it's all, well, no, I don't want to rag on, the other divisions, but the there's no doubt that the hot box division is the major leagues.
Hmm.
And, you could say that maybe some of these other divisions are maybe, not in the same league, but we'll see. That's what the Conbini tournament's all about. And we're not even going to be able to really bias this because we're probably going to have the results before this even goes out. But all right, Matt, I agree. I don't think Black Thunder can beat Famichiki. What do you think about Tuna Mayo Onigiri versus Pocari Sweat?
I gotta tell you, I have no idea, Mike. I think this is going to be one hell of a matchup. I think we could see a couple hundred votes come in on this one. I really have no idea. So much love has poured in for the Tuna Mayo, but so much has
Yeah.
poured in for the Pocari Sweat. Pocari Sweat beat Strong Zero, Mike. Again, my God, I mean, I did not see that coming. And then it beat Conbini Drip Coffee,
Mm.
which got 180 votes to beat canned coffee. I mean, it crushed two beloved items in the beverage division to make it to the final four. But then
Hmm.
Tuna Mayo mowed down some other big names. So I
Yeah.
really have no idea
Yeah.
who's going to take this matchup, Mike.
Yeah.
I will say I would kind of feel a little bit sorry for you if it was a Famichiki Pocari Sweat championship round, because then your loyalties would in fact be torn and you'd have
That's
a hard
true.
time. But anyway, yeah, who do you got coming out of the Pocari Sweat Tuna Mayo matchup?
Well, hey, remember my championship year? I've got Famichiki versus Pocari Sweat. So I know.
Wow, your bracket is still intact here. That's incredible.
That's right. Well, yeah. So I've still got a chance here. I'm gonna be honest, Matt. I'm gonna stay cautious. Hopefully, Pocari Sweat pulls it out. That would be great.
Yeah.
It's fought so hard to this point. But I feel like the momentum is seeing a Famichiki Tuna Mayo Onigiri championships. But I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see.
Famichiki Tuna Mayo, that would be an interesting matchup. That would be, wow, to see Tuna Mayo take down Famichiki. That would truly be a Cinderella story. Actually, I think that could reconfigure the Conbini universe there, with the gravity shifting from the hot box to the onigiri section. Man, that has huge consequences. But
Mm,
we'll see. like you said, we'll actually know the results by the time you're listening to this. So it's actually maybe not such interesting commentary at the point.
We'll see you in the future. We'll see you in the future.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, that, wraps up the lead story this week. Lots of excitement. New Year's coming up. Then we got the championship coming. I'm really excited. But all right, Matt. Well, we're almost to the end of the show here. And you know what? This week we were lucky. We actually had another call for a Conbini memory.
Mm-hmm.
Only this time, I don't know, Matt, if I would call this a memory.
Mm-hmm.
This is quite a memory, if it is a memory. But I think we've decided to call it a Conbini Composition, right?
That's right.
So we had a caller. This is Jeff at Tyrone Slothrow 19 at Twitter. He called in, and he's got what they'd call a doozy here. So let's take a listen.
Hiya, chickies. Fresh Conbini memory here. I gotta preface my story by saying that what I'm about to describe is a fairly regular thing for me. But the difference this time, yesterday around noon specifically, under a blue sky and in beautiful golden sunshine, while local construction boys were rushing to raid the items new and old on the Conbini shelves, and local moms were languidly cycling about, kids their handbags in their back seats, tracing all kinds of arcs on every inch of walkable pavement, AC fans humming and the Conbini door jingle looping and crashing into a new or replayed version of itself every time its door sensor was triggered. But the difference this time was that I thought of you Conbini boys. You see, there's this large metallic waste box outside of my local 7-Eleven. For those listeners not familiar with Japan's Conbinis, these boxes are split into 3 sub-bins. 2 of these are not so important for my story, but there's one labeled Moeru Gomi, burnable waste. When the sun's high and there's enough light about to really peek into dark places, I like to open that bin's lid, sit myself on the opening's edge, and subsequently lower myself into that trash grotto. Now, you'd be surprised at what kinds of hauls you can mine from a place like this, and what preferences really emerge from that buy, eat immediately, then hastily offload in a bin demographic. I exhumed from this deposit of things thrown away what I made out to be the plastic wrapper of a tuna mayo onigiri. The plastic no longer transparent, but having turned the color of milk just mechanically squeezed from an udder, which I think may in fact be a comforting selling point for good mayonnaise. It's almost as refreshing as a glass of rich milk, but due to the viscosity, you can't consume it as quickly, so it stays around a little longer. Now, here I was, licking the residual dairy stuff off of this plastic, trying to get it to shine in the sun, the city humming all around me, when I realized what a wonderful coincidence my trashy run-in with Mayo was. A few days ago, I was in fact reading some Kewpie news, number 559, published on November 27th, 2020, and distributed as part of a regular newsletter by the Kewpie Corporation on the marketability of edible flowers and food products right now, specifically the chrysanthemum, if you can believe that. I'd say my confidence in the chrysanthemum studies was really boosted after gathering that Mayo on my tongue. It's reassuring to know quality can be found all around, even in the bins among us. And I'm frankly a little ashamed that I judged Kewpie's inquiries in the world of food science before the fruits of that labor hit my tongue. Anyway, blessed day, brothers. Thanks for the listen. You can subscribe to the Kewpie newsletter at qpnews.qp.co.jp.
Wow, Mike. Yeah, what can you say? A sort of dystopian look at the Conbini there, sort of garbage diving into the dumpster diving into the burnable trash to harvest some Kewpie mayonnaise from a tuna mayo wrapper.
That's right, and a shout out to Kewpie. Kewpie is probably Japan's biggest mayonnaise manufacturer, and as Jeff was saying, they have a newsletter, so if you want to subscribe to that,
Worth checking out just to see some great Japanese web design.
That's true.
Yeah.
But thanks for calling in, and thanks for leaving your Conbini composition. That was an interesting story, and hopefully we'll have some more stories here in the future as well.
Well, Mike, that wraps up episode 35. I guess it wraps up 2020. First year of Conbini Boys is in the can. What a ride it has been. Thanks to all of our listeners for tuning in to the podcast. If you like it, please share it and give us a rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, however you listen. Also, be sure to check out our YouTube channel where we post the recordings of the podcast so you can see exactly what we're talking about. You can check us out on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Twitter is where we're doing the most action, so join the conversation there. Also, shout out to Craig Hoffman on Twitter, who gave us one of his awards for Twitter this year. So thanks, Craig, for that. That was really exciting to receive. The official title is the Gray, Grizzled, and Gaijin 2020 Social Media Award. So thank you, Craig, for awarding us that. And if you do have a Conbini memory or a Conbini composition, there are all kinds of ways you can reach us. You can head over to anchor.fm/Conbini Boys. That limits you to just a minute. If you do have something bigger to send, just send us a voice memo through WeTransfer or Dropbox, and we'll be sure to download it. Again, we post these things. We don't edit. Don't edit. Post it exactly how you send it. So, thanks again, everybody, for listening. Please tune in for 2021, where we'll continue with some Conbini content. Mike, it's been a pleasure. I'll see you at the Conbini.
See you at the Conbini, Matt. The Conbini Boys. They're the Conbini Boys. They're the Conbini. They're the Conbini. They're the Conbini. They're the Conbini.